Frankenberry's not bad. Like, I used to really not like the Halloween cereals like Boo Berry and Count Chocula. I don't know why. I just really didn't like them when I was little. And I've only had them once. So this is like the first time I've like had them in years. So I don't know. I was missing a lot. Welcome back to another video. Today is number 4 of our October toy review marathon thing. I don't know how else to call it. This is just my day 4 of doing this. And today we're taking a look at the American Werewolf of London, in London, not of London, in London, by Neca, from the movie with the same name. This is the Kessler werewolf, as what he's called, and I am excited to get into this thing. You also might be noticing something a little different. We have a new little setup here, but we're not going to talk about that right now. That will be a later video. Very later video. But today we're going to review this werewolf. I am super excited to get into this. I got this guy not too long ago. I got him on like Macari, and I got him for a pretty good deal. It was like 40, something like that. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. But yeah, figures right here. We're going to take a look at the box and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll get the figure out here, review him, see what he's like, and that's it. So unlike normal NECA figure boxes, this guy's box is pretty big. You can see that comparing it to, a little bit of a spoiler alert, comparing it to a normal NECA figure box, it's just like, it's way more bigger than it usually is. It has the same kind of features with, like, you know, opening the front and stuff, but it's just huge. It is huge, and it's got some weight to it, to be honest. It's a pretty nice looking box. You can see in the front, very nice image of the werewolf with I think it's David and Jack. I don't know why I didn't just say Jack. That's the first name that came to mind. But you see an image of David and Jack going to the village. You can see the beautiful looking landscape as well, with the werewolf kind of just in the sky. I think that's like really cool. You can see that it says up here, keep clear of the moors, beware the moon, American Werewolf in London, Ultimate Kessler Wolf. And I think that it's such a neat looking box. It's so cool. You can see at the back, at the very top, you can see an American Werewolf in London with the image of the figure right there. On the side, you can see a very creepy image of the figure right there. You can see there's another image of the werewolf right there, and some images of the werewolf there, as well as some like little text here, which you can pause and read for yourself. But there it is right there. It's a nice looking box, and you can see that you can open this part up, and you can see another image of the werewolf there, and where the actual werewolf is supposed to be, but he is out of the box right now. Usually I just kind of have him on display already. So it's a pretty cool box. It's definitely one that you really need to make room for if you do collect boxes, just because of how big it is. But something else that you need to kind of make room for is the werewolf himself, because he's a pretty big boy. So looking at the figure himself, he is very menacing all the way around. He's just so creepy. I absolutely love like the proportions of him. It's such a creepy werewolf. When I finally watched the movie, which was pretty recent, I was pretty amazed on how kind of creepy the werewolf is. And the movie itself, I actually really enjoyed. It is definitely more of like that comedy horror, but I think the horror I think it's really balanced to be a proper comedy horror, because it's not overly done with comedy, and it's pretty freaky. The werewolf itself is horrifying to look at, and you barely see it on screen. Like, you really don't see the full thing. It's just kind of glimpses here and there. but it's done so well, and I absolutely love the film for that. Now, the werewolf's accessories is very limited, but he does come with 2 different head sculpts. The one he usually has on is this one, but this one's just so creepy. But taking a look at each head sculpt, you can see that this one is pretty horrifying. Like, this is terrifying looking. You can see that it is very creepy. The sculpting of the fur and the painting of it is actually really cool. The snout and the teeth, and you can see the gums, and the inside of the mouth is painted and sculpted beautifully. The eyes are very creepy, and it's kind of menacing to really look at, because it's looking straight at you. And it's super creepy. This eye is a little bit looking more towards the left a little bit, but this eye is just so creepy. It's I don't know how else to say it. It's a creepy little head sculpt, but it's definitely more of that neutral look. It's really not meant to be as horrifying. But the next one that we do have, which is on the figure, is horrifying. Like, you can see that the mouth is completely wide open, with the the mouth being, it looks bloody, and you can see that just the amount of gloss in there is pretty disturbing looking. It's creepy, and the eyes are again just horrifying. You kind of do wish that they did have just another hinge joint for the mouth, but I think this works perfectly. I don't think we really needed a hinge joint, because it would have probably looked weird just to kind of have like this weird seam. So I kind of like the more natural opening look, and that is horrible. That is just like horrifying, and it's so weird. It's so weird looking, but you can see that there are some big differences from when he had a meal and when he didn't have a meal. But you can see some of the blood is coming out of the onto the actual fur and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. You can see that it's sculpted at the top too, and you can see the sculpted tongue. It's just horrifying. The teeth are kind of sharp, so I mean, I guess be careful. Don't really jab your finger in there. But it is a creepy head sculpt, and the eyes are definitely painted pretty nicely. Again, the fur sculpting is pretty good. I really do like it. If you really do want to see the other head in, you just got to pop it off and pop this on, because it is just on a little ball joint, so it's really not that hard to get on. You just kind of got to pop it in, and there you go. He's got a new he's got the head sculpt on now, and it's so cool. I do love. I don't think it really needed more accessories. I think just these two was like perfect enough. I don't know what else they would have really added to accessories, but this is pretty cool. I love the way this looks. The rest of the figure itself is very long, and it's got some pretty dope looking. It just looks so cool looking, and he is big too. We'll compare him with the other 2 werewolves I have, but he is pretty big, and finding space for him, it's not going to be too hard, but he definitely needs a little bit more room than other figures. But you can see I love just the lankiness of the body here, and you can see that there's sculpted fur here, and it looks pretty dope. You can see that the legs are pretty oddly shaped, and just the whole thing is like really cool. The sculpting, the painting, I think is done really nicely. I think the only thing you can really complain about is the little gaps here, but honestly there's no way around that, or this little seam line right here. But I mean, honestly, that's just barely noticeable. It really is no biggie. But you can see there's a big tuft of fur right here where the chest is. Some fur here, some fur kind of drooping down here. I really do like the posability on this figure, which we'll take a look at right now. But he does have some pretty decent range of posability for a figure that looks like this. His head can look up about that far, It's like down that far, which is pretty far. I actually really do like how far he can look down. He does have some side to side. I also really like how they did the side to side too, because this back little tuft of fur is loose, but it kind of does follow the actual head around, so it's not like too gappy, because it would just look weird if, like, you know, I think it just works better. There's really no gaps here unless you look at it from this side. Then you can kind of make it looks like he's got gills or something, but it's pretty nice when it turns with the actual head. I think that's really cool. For the actual limbs itself, his arms go out about that far, and they do a full rotation. Nothing really gets in the way because most of this stuff is rubber, so I think that's really cool. He does have, I think it's a double, that looks like more of a single bend, but he's got a nice bend at the elbow here, which goes pretty far. He does have swivel at that elbow as well. His swivel at the wrist, some up and down at the, you know, the wrist. I guess you'd say that's the wrist, and he has some finger movement, which can go about that far and that far, and it's pretty nicely done. Really do like that. He does have, I guess you can say this is an ab crunch, but he can go back about that far, and his crunch is pretty much like that. Very, very nice, and of course it can swivel as well. The legs can go out about that far, and he does have, you know, he can move them side to side, kind of, you know, up and down like that. For the knee, he does have a pretty decent knee bend. He also does have, I guess, an ankle bend, and he does have the toe movement here that goes up and down. It also can be turned into a swivel, which I think this one can as well, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, that is also a rotation too, which you can rotate as well. So posability is pretty dope on this figure. It definitely does take some getting used to, because I'm still getting used to, like, you know, posing this guy, trying to make it look natural on the shelf. But you know, you really do gotta finick with it a lot, just so you can get it to where it looks natural. But yeah, the figure just looks super cool. I absolutely love the way it looks. Taking a look at the Wolfman from the 2010 movie next to the Kessler werewolf is pretty cool. I really do like the way both of them do look. Fun fact, both of them were, I guess the design and the makeup and special effects were all done by Rick Baker, which is really cool to see. You can definitely see the, you know, the similarities between the two, mainly being the transformations and stuff. You could definitely tell that they, you know, took some stuff from the American Werewolf in London and added that into the Wolfman. But both of these look really dope. I really do like both of them. You can see that the Wolfman does win in height, but, you know, I think he still wins as being bigger just because of how long he is. So putting him on a shelf is gonna be more of a hassle, but both of them do look pretty nice together. And of course we have to add the original Wolfman figure, and they both look pretty dope. I really do like the way both of them looks. It's so weird to come from this movie, then move right onto this one, and just seeing a huge difference in how werewolves are done now compared to the original. It's pretty dope. I really do like the way it looks. You can see again that the Wolfman is a bit taller, but you know, definitely this thing is the biggest. It's a huge, it's like a huge bear, you know. It's cool. I love the design of this thing, and I think it definitely fits with any monster collection. I really do like the way it looks, and you know, I don't think getting them on a shelf is going to be too hard. But if we kind of move this up, you can see that the little desk I have now does have a little lip here, So if you do want to kind of have them, you know, on it, you really kind of have to have them to like the side, or just try and make it work out, because having them on a tiny shelf like this, you know, really doesn't work out. But you can get it there, you just kind of gotta make it however you want. But having them straight on like this on a tiny shelf like that is going to be a little challenging, because he does kind of, you know, fall off. So either do it to the side or just put them on a shelf that has a bigger displaying option. And that's pretty much that. That is the Kessler werewolf from American Werewolf in London. Let me know what you guys think about this figure down below. If you guys do have this figure, tell me how you guys kind of have it set up, or just show however you want. Definitely would like to see some what you guys have to do. This guy is so cool, and I think fits the Halloween theme. The sculpting, the posability, the overall look of it is awesome. I think that, you know, even though he does include just one head sculpt, I think that's totally fine. He does not really need anything else. I don't know what else you would even add anyways, maybe like a limb or two, to kind of have him, you know, put it into the open mouth. But other than that, you know, the figure itself is pretty perfect. There's not really a lot that I would complain about. There are some parts in the joints, I would say the elbows, kind of right here, that are a little weak. So when you do have them posed, they kind of just lock in, and, you know, he falls over a little bit. But I think if once you get the hang of messing around with this posability, it's a lot easier to get used to, and you can pose them a lot, you know, better. But other than that, there's really no complaints at all. This figure is really good. Definitely get this if you are an American Werewolf in London fan. Yeah, even if you're not, having this werewolf is super cool. But other than that, I think that's going to be it. That was the review of the Ultimate Kessler Werewolf. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Remember, if you do like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. But I'm going to head out. Hopefully this video will be edited as soon as I get from napping, because it's still 5 in the morning right now and I'm tired. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video.